Hi folks, it's me, Stan, WB2LQF again. I'm holding an electronic debouncer. It's a $12 kit that was designed and produced by Chuck Olson, Whiskey Bravo 9, Kilo Zulu Yankee. Chuck does business as Jackson Harbor Press, and his website is at www.wb9kzy.com. Now, I call this a debouncer, but Chuck calls it the Bug De-Scratcher 3 kit in his inventory. And that's what you should look for on his site if you are interested. 12 bucks. So what do you get for $12? What does it do? Well, in short, it gets rid of the scratchy leading edge of the dits and the dahs that are caused by mechanical contact bounce, which is produced by both your semi-automatic bugs and straight keys. It's essentially a retriggerable monostable vibrator that extends the dit or the dah by a few milliseconds, somewhere between, I guess, around 6 to 10, after chopping off the defective leading edge. So the result is a nice, cleanly formed and pleasant sounding character. There's even an option at ordering time for a solid state relay, which allows for keying a positive or a negative high voltage boat anchor rig that's either cathode or grid block keyed. All this for $12. So you might be asking yourself, why should you consider this for a shack accessory? Well, for one thing, all mechanical contacts bounce. That's just plain physics. Some bounce more than others. A properly adjusted and maintained key should not bounce enough to affect operation. Not at all. However, the world's not a perfect place, and even changes in temperature and humidity can cause your key to fall out of adjustment. It happens. Happens to me all the time. There can also be an ever so slight movement in the position of a contact post, offsetting the strike angle just enough to cause erratic characters. Also, in today's solid state environment, there's no longer a couple hundred volts flowing through your key. Now, this may be safer for you, sure, but that voltage did an awful lot toward keeping your contacts clean, at least for a time, until eventually it burned them up, pitted them. Like I said earlier, it ain't no perfect world out there. Now, maybe you like to experiment, you have an older key or even a homebrew creation, and the contacts are less than optimal. This debouncer can help you clean up your sending and make your CW sessions more satisfying, not only for you, but for the poor sucker at the other end. Of course, there are also mechanical solutions to contact bounce. The great Ted McElroy invented one many decades ago. Its purpose was to preload the flat spring, and it worked just fine. I had one on an old McElroy 1938B that I wish I still had. Never should have sold it. Jim W0EB brought that concept back a few years ago and produced them for Vibralplex round and short arm bugs. Had one of those too, it worked just fine. However, the advantage of an electronic version is that it brings to the party something a little special. You see, you can build it and then you can plug in any of your bugs or scratchy straight keys into it, so you don't have a mechanical solution dedicated to one key. But remember, you always start with a properly adjusted and maintained key, and the debouncer then becomes your insurance policy. Regarding contact cleaning, simply passing an index card through the contacts prior to ever operating session is one good habit to adopt. I do it all the time. This kit is composed of the board here and all the through-hole parts. You're going to need to supply your own metal enclosure in order to reduce RF pickup. You're going to need a couple of jacks for input and output, and somewhere between 9 and 14 volts DC to power it. It can be as simple as a 9-volt battery on board, or a more permanent connection to a 13.8-volt bench supply. I chose to build mine into this Altoids tin, and I chose to connect it to my Samlex power supply. I don't have a discrete on-off switch. It's just connected to the power supply here. When I power up the station, the debouncer is automatically online and waiting to go to work. So why don't we go see what it sounds like, okay? There it is, all connected. All right, input, output, power. And I'm just gonna slip it in here to the back of my my station console. See, way back there. Don't have to worry about it. I can just sit down, I can operate. Let's give it a shot. Nice clean dits. So, if you're in the market to clean up your sending a little bit, take a look at WB9KZY's little $12 solution to scratchy dits. 73 from Stan.